You start the wheel, I'll shape the clay. They made it.
They made it with Pottery Craft. With Pottery Craft. With the Pottery Craft Potter's Wheel, batteries not included, you can spin pots, mugs, and dishes. Next day, when they're dry, you can decorate them the way you like. They made it. They made it.
Hey, that looks great.
With Pottery Craft. The Pottery Craft Potter's Wheel, with everything you need to make air-dried pottery. By Gabriel.
Wouldn't it be nice to drink a hot cup of coffee on the way to work each morning? But you can't, because ordinary cups spill. Introducing Auto Cup by Ronco, the amazing no-spill cup. Just press the lever and drink. Release it and it's automatically sealed. Auto Cup's carrying strap makes it great for golfers, bikers, skiers, boaters, even truckers. Auto Cup by Ronco, a great Christmas gift, and it's only $5.88.
Available at High School Pharmacy, Woolworth, Mymart, Montgomery Wards, and Fred Meyer. Saturday at 4, school will never be the same. Jerry Lewis is the nutty professor.
Yesterday, in discussing biology, the long legs of the beetle and the wonderful body of the ant.
He's got something. And I mean to find out what it is.
Jerry Lewis is the nutty professor. The Saturday Picture Show at 4 on KPTV 12.
Have you been wanting to buy furniture but worried about credit? B&L Furniture can solve your credit problems now. You see, at B&L, we carry our own accounts. That means we can open a credit account for just about anyone, and you're no exception. B&L Furniture won't turn you down if there is any way we can help you get your credit started. So come into B&L and find the furniture you want. Then let us show you how easy it is to buy it. B&L Furniture is your credit store 7 days a week.
It's another great season to shop at Fred Meyer.
Watch for the gift circular for savings on West Bend appliances, like the 12-inch automatic skillet with Silverstone nonstick interior and Sensitemp heat control, or the West Bend electric wok, perfect to stir-fry or steam vegetables and meat. Your choice, just $28.88. And the Poppery, West Bend's hot air popcorn popper with automatic butter melter is just $19.88. It's another great season to shop at Fred Meyer.
From rock's new wave comes K-Tel's Rock 80, starring Pat Benatar. Hot licks from the Knack, Blondie, and Joe Jackson.
Is she really going out with him?
Platinum Power from Cheap Trick, the Ramones, and Gary Newman. Pretenders. Rock 80, a killer cut after cut. In tune with the 80s from K-Tel. Available at these and other fine stores.
It's Uncle Remus telling it as it is about all those wonderful critters. Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, Brer Bear.
See, Disney's been woke forever.
It's warm and alive with excitement. It's that Symphony Doodah picture, Walt Disney's Song of the South, rated G.
Now playing at theaters and drive-ins everywhere. Check your newspaper for one near you.
We sell a lot of records, and records cost a lot of money. But what good is spending a lot of money if your records don't sound good because of dust and static electricity? That's why I recommend to all our customers the new record vacuum by Ronco. It's so easy to use. Just insert any size record, 33 1/3, 45s, 78s. The new record vacuum automatically vacuums away all the microdust particles that distort sound and can damage your needle. It also eliminates static electricity buildup. The record vacuum by Ronco protects your records and gives you all the quality sound you paid for. It makes this sound like this. For the price of a couple of albums, protect your records and prevent damage to your needle. If you want the best possible sound from all your records, get the new record vacuum by Ronco. In fact, buy 2 or 3. They really do make great Christmas gifts. And they're only $14.88.
For parking my Corvette, Matchbox Garage, the best you can get.
The place I park my horse and my Dodge is right here in the good old Matchbox Garage.
There's so much to do at the Matchbox Garage. I'll never get bored
It's a
with
thick
my
accent that
Model
kid's
A
got.
Ford.
Matchbox Super Garage. Any way you set it up, it's the perfect place for all your Matchbox cars.
Parking my 57 Chevy was never this heavy.
Holy shit.
This happened. This is in Nashville, Tennessee, like night before last, I think.
Oh my god.
People jumping off there. There is something in the water in Nashville, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. Base jumping. It's Saturday, fam. What? What did you say? It's Saturday. What? And the Cream Stream's on? Yes. Cream Stream's on tonight. We figured we'd do it. Why not? And in the house with me so far is the lovely Tim of the Hun.
Hey everybody. I'm watching base jumping right now because I'm on a time delay. Right, yeah, you're right. There's something in the water there, I think.
Dude, I know.
Yeah.
Roasted?
Hey.
Hey.
Holy crap.
Stone Monkey?
Boy, was I on a time delay.
Whoa.
Yeah, right. The delay is ridiculous.
Whoa. What's up, everybody?
Hey, man. Wow, we're just going to be the laid back, the FM version of the show tonight. That's right. Back in the day, FM used to be smooth and mellow. We're just going to do we're going to play side 2 of Dark Side of the Moon now while I go take a shit. And, we literally used to do that, though, back in the campus, Boomerville campus radio, Boomerversity, that's it, Boomerversity campus radio. We would put on long songs like, I don't know, like, the Do You Feel Like We Do? The classic by, or the live version of Freebird, something like that.
The 28-minute version of Dazed and Confused?
That, yeah, exactly. You just pop the album on and put a long song on it and go, give birth to some politicians, you know what I'm saying?
Or put on the Doors, I Am the Lizard King.
Yeah.
Yeah. 27 minutes of the spoken word. It's great.
That's good stuff. It is. I'm trying to find, where did I put my slideshow? Because we got a new background. It is not advocating drugs for anyone. I'm just saying that this is we're in psychedelic territory.
Oh shit!
Reality wise, don't you think? I mean, things are a wee bit surreal. Oh, and I want
things are a lot bit surreal.
3 bits from CFI Care. CFI Care, I like that. $3 says, I say we listen to Dope Smoker from Sleep.
Hey, you know what?
Okay.
On that note, On that note.
Uh-oh. We're not advocating the illegal use of any type of medicines or drugs.
It is legal in our area.
Legal.
though.
I am totally smoking some legal marijuana.
Oh, okay. Well then it's legal.
Yes,
He's
sir.
an adult. You're a grown ass man, and you can do what the fuck you want to.
35-year-old legal marijuana user.
There you go.
In a legal marijuana user state.
That's crazy.
Next to another legal marijuana user state. Next to the legal marijuana using country.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's going to be a thing in the next year.
It should be.
I don't know.
We'd make so much freaking tax revenue off of that. It's not even fucking funny.
Well, it's just gonna take enough Karens getting pissed off at their local politicians to sit down with them and say, listen, you want to defund the police, that's fine, I don't fucking care, but if you legalize weed, you aren't going to have to worry about anybody trying to defund the police because you got all the money you need for them right there.
Exactly.
That's all it's going to take.
That's a great point. And so let me go ahead. I'm going to load up the VLC for everyone to click on so we can synchronize.
Ooh. Damn, I gotta load another poll then. Shit.
Oh, shit. I gotta run in I can't do that in the room right.
What's the matter?
Right.
Is everybody okay?
Hold on. Yes,
No.
you said sync, so I gotta get a bowl
I know,
loaded.
I'm trying to, wait a minute.
That's why I love being at home. It's like when I'm at my mom's house watching the house, like doing stuff, I'm like sitting there at the laptop going, damn, I don't have my bong sitting next to me. This sucks.
I hate living in an apartment.
That's right. All right. So this first little piece came across Twitter today, and it's some people. Yeah, they were having a gathering in Quebec. All right, we'll just go ahead and go to the thing. And before we do that, ring that bell. And well, I already got the $3, so I can make the demon tranny go away.
No, put her back up again. We need more money. More tithes.
Well, man, you know.
Tithes?
Tithes. Yes, sorry. I'm definitely a lot more me than I was last night.
Good. Feeling
Dude,
better?
my stupid Discord page won't load. I don't understand this. I have fiber, and it does this.
Huh.
Hmm.
I still have the 2 little blue squares dancing.
Hmm.
Stupid thing. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
cool.
gonna mute and wait for this to connect.
Well,
Go ahead,
yeah. All right. So, all right. Yeah, I've got this. I've got a couple other things that we're going to go through. Has anybody had anything special happen between now and yesterday?
No.
Did anybody see? Go
I
ahead.
learned a bunch of shit about what happened on New Year's Day across our country that I didn't know.
Like what?
Apparently, Portland wasn't the only place that had right-wing protests where cops got shitty.
What happened? What do you mean right-wing protests?
Apparently, there have been several lockdown protests, not just in, like, Salem. There have been several where the cops have gotten aggressive. And it's all popping up all over the place now. I'm trying to figure out cities, but I know it's not Salem that these guys are in, because I know what Salem fucking looks like. I used to live there.
What's the probability that it's actual taxpayers that they're you know, that they're cutting loose on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
you
kind
saw
of
what Ted Wheeler said.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're not putting up with this protests anymore. We're going to hit back harder. Interesting that it took him months and months to say that. The last time he said, "Oh no, they've got a right to protest," was October, and I don't know what happened between October and now, but something must have changed because now all of a sudden he wants to crack down on anybody who is protesting.
Because the right is starting to act like the left because the courts told them the only thing they can do is act like the left.
No, it's about money. I guarantee you.
Biden's
people saying if you don't cut this shit out now, you know. It was all for the election. That was all. That was bread and circuses, my friends.
Bingo.
you know, and
Oh, well, this is also so he can get money for surveillance, because the big thing he kept highlighting when he was talking is extra added surveillance and known police tactics to deal with the aggression going on in Portland with Antifa. So this is just an excuse to expand government intervention into the daily lives of Portlanders. It will not improve anything with Antifa.
Dang. Well, let's say hi to some people in the audience, in the chat, as we say. JTR Serial Killer. We're saying Roll Tide, brother, from Twitch. Roll Tide, Roll Tide, Roll Tide. We're going to play Ohio State, and it's going to look like 1978 all over again. Woody Hayes and Bear Bryant. I'm pumped. I'm very pumped for this game. Philip Daniel, greetings, sir, and I salute you. Mr. Goatman, of course, the GOAT. We know what Goatman stands for. Spittle Buggies, hi. Johnny Bonsaco, Fist Bump. Pete, what's up, man? Let's see. Check your logic. Hey, I missed you the other night. Sorry about that, but I saw you and I remembered that. Okay, so you connection. Bass Bloater, what's up? Bass Bloater, like that. That one chick. Hey, what's happening? Check your logic, and of course Tim of the Hun, and Philip Daniel again. All right, so we got a full house. And greetings, people, and we'll go ahead. I guess we'll go ahead and start rolling this tape. All right, because this is kind of talking about what you were talking about. This is in Quebec, and police were alerted by a neighbor that these people were having a gathering.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
of six
people.
Oh, so humanity.
Yeah.
They violated by one.
All right, tell me if it's too loud, okay?
No, sinner! Hey! Fuck you! No, sinner! Fuck you! Hey!
Il peut plus respirer, arrête! Arrête, il peut plus respirer!
Don't fucking do that! Don't you fucking do that!
Okay, calm down.
Stay fucking here!
Can we move?
Okay? Okay, we're calm. Don't do that! We're people!
Hey!
Get the fuck inside! Get the fuck inside!
Non, lâchez-les, s'il vous plaît, là. S'il vous plaît, les gars, là. Hey, lâchez-les, là, ils sont trois de...
This is a Québécois. That's what we're looking at here.
Dessus, là.
Bon, I'm gonna come out.
Hey, non, ils sont trois dessus, là.
Yeah?
Hey, ils sont trois dessus, là.
Get the fuck out in there! Jesus Christ! Ça va être pire, arrête! You fucking make things worse!
No!
Yes! What are you gonna do now? Stay there!
You have a shoes for the video? You have a shoes?
What?
You have a shoes?
Hey, c'est ça de là! Comment, genre? Hey, vous avez pas le droit de tirer quelqu'un de la maison!
Je sais pas qu'est-ce qui s'est passé.
Vous avez pas le droit!
Avez-vous des
Moi, je veux voir votre sergent!
Avez-vous des chaussures?
Non, j'ai pas de celui.
You have a shoes?
Non, j'en ai pas de celui. Donne-y ça! Attends, on là. Oh my God.
So apparently the South's not the only place where white trash exists. I don't know.
Moi, je veux voir non! C'est juste de collaborer. Hey, c'est quoi? Vous m'avez tiré en bois! On a sa caméra sur un tabarnak! Vous avez tiré mon fils! Écoutez, madame, si vous avez un problème, notre sergent est en route. C'est tant mieux!
And tonight on Cops Quebec, we're going to look at the...
yes, ma'am, I know, but this is the rule and you have to follow it.
Face diaper.
It was, I don't care. This is the rule.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. This is absolute apathy. This is, I have the power. You need to shut the fuck up. I'm prettier, smarter, and better than you. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's corruption.
Well, you know.
Vous êtes en accord au travail policier, vous avez des recours, vous les prendrez. Merci. Close the door. Close the door. I don't want to see those people anymore.
Yeah, this doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. I don't get it. Why?
Indeed. So
You gotta drag a motherfucker out of the house on like New Year's Day and shit. Fucking.
All right. So here's
the next block
go
party really fun.
No shit.
Damn it, Karen. Stop calling the cops every time 4 of us get together.
Yes, it's the Soviet Union. You know, they're literally tattling on their fucking neighbors.
It's not even the Soviet Union, dude. This
for
is
political
CCP
reasons.
level shit. This is CCP level shit.
Right on. You're not wrong.
If you see something, say something.
Okay.
Fuck you, Janet.
Now, all right. So we're gonna go to stuff related to the COOF from the past week, and I have a little bumper that I got today for it. So and I'll use, because it it dovetails with China. I'll use it Monday too.
Cool.
Check it out. Here we go.
People in California are right now under brand new stay-at-home orders as hospitals there risk being overwhelmed. There are a lot of governors who oppose bringing back these lockdown orders and forcing businesses to close. What do you think? Do you think more states need to consider taking that kind of drastic action and the kind of drastic action we saw when the pandemic first began?
Why is he asking Bill Gates?
Since when is Bill Gates an authority on anything except for how to steal an operating system and make a ton of money from it?
Well, he definitely is an expert on how to get away with doing really shady shit and smile while you're doing it. People honestly think this guy's a fucking philanthropist. They honestly think he's a good guy out doing good things. And it's like, wait a minute. Did you forget how he got the money and what happened to him?
They deified this man.
Yes,
they deified this guy. It's
he's a piece of
and I
shit.
still don't get it.
Can there be a more nuanced approach?
Well, certainly mask wearing has essentially no downside. They're not expensive. Bars and restaurants in most of the country will be closed as we go into this wave, and I think, sadly, that's appropriate. Depending on how severe it is, the decision about schools is much more complicated because they're...
Sadly, that's appropriate. Sadly.
Shut up, Kermit the Frog.
Sadly,
Lord.
that's appropriate. Sadly. He's sad, y'all.
I think that we need to close down everything. I'm sorry. It's sad, and it's really terrible that all these small business owners will lose their businesses because we won't let them operate even by takeout. But
these ant people are going to lose their livelihoods.
Yeah, exactly. A million.
The benefits are pretty high. The amount of transmission is not the same as in restaurants and bars. So, trade-offs will have to be made. But the next 4 to 6 months really call on us to do our best, because we can see that this will end, and you don't want, somebody you love to be the last to die of coronavirus.
When do you think life will fully return to what we thought of as normal back in January? No masks, no social distancing, no other protective measures necessary.
What is he, Nostradamus?
Stay this way.
Why is Jake Tapper asking this guy that question? What's the future look like? He might as well call Kreskin up, or is it Kreskin died, didn't he? I don't know. Fuck it. Yeah, I'm old. Whatever. Get over it. I'm sorry. I'm copping a tube, John.
Certainly by the summer.
Oh, you want to say something?
Wait.
No. Bless his heart.
Closer to normal than we are now. But even through early 2022, unless we help other countries get rid of this disease and we get high vaccination rates in our country, the risk of reintroduction will be there. And of course, the global economy will be slowed down, which hurts America economically in a pretty dramatic way. So we'll have, starting in the summer, about 9 months where a few things like big public gatherings will still be restricted. But we can see now that somewhere between 12 to 18 months, and we have a chance, if we manage it well, to get back to normal.
And obviously we're changing.
The Moderna vaccines sound concerning. We looked. After the second dose, at least 80% of participants experienced a systemic side effect, ranging from severe chills to fevers. So, are these vaccines safe?
No.
Well, the FDA...
Why are you asking Bill Gates?
look hard at that. The FDA is the gold standard of regulators, and their current guidance on this, if they stick with that, is very, very appropriate.
Did you notice he took a drink?
And
I can't see it.
You know,
Yeah.
the side effects were not super severe. That is, it didn't cause permanent health problems for the things there. Moderna did have to go with a fairly high dose, and so to get the antibodies. Some of the other vaccines are able to go with lower doses to get responses that are pretty high, including the J&J and the Pfizer. And so there's a lot of characteristics of these vaccines. It's great that we have multiple of them that are going out there. And yes, I think
you know the data
US
better than I do.
government-
But the data showed that everybody with a high dose had a side effect.
Yeah, but some of that is not dramatic, where it's just super painful. But yes, we need
Some of that's dramatic. Listen to this.
to make sure there's not severe side effects. The FDA, I think, will do a good job of that, despite the pressure.
How many doses of the vaccine will we need?
Well, none of the vaccines at this point appear like they'll work with a single dose. That was the hope at the very beginning. Maybe one of them, particularly in the second generation, won't surprise us. We hope just 2, although in the elderly, sometimes it takes more. And so making sure we have lots of elderly people in the trial will give us that data.
You've said more than 7 billion doses.
We just need to pump you full of whatever the fuck we're giving you, and
what you're trying to
hope
I wanna
it
ask
works
about
after how many shots.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no. All right, so Fauci, remember, all right, so he was the guy behind the HIV thing. It's like, all right, so now HIV can't be cured, but you have to take like $3,000 worth of shit a month. Or probably more. I don't even know how much it goes now. But I've always thought that was like an end game for this thing, is like it's going to be strung out, where you'll have to get treatment here, treatment there, treatment here, treatment there, and it's just like an unending supply of money. That's what I'm saying. That's what I said immediately in my head. When I figured out what he had done, and I was figuring out that he obviously really had his eye on the ball. I mean, Jesus. Listen to, all right, so we're going to talk to Fauci about how his process works. This guy is a man of science, and we need to respect him.
And the President-elect Biden said this week, he said, the darkest days in the battle against COVID are ahead of us. Dr. Fauci, as you know, over 100,000 of our fellow Americans spent their holiday hospitalized with COVID-19, and we're averaging nearly 200,000 new cases, more than 2,000 deaths each day. Do you agree that the worst is still yet to come?
I do, Dan, and the reason I'm concerned, and my colleagues in public health are concerned also, is that we very well might see a post-seasonal, in the sense of Christmas, New Year's surge. And as I've described it, as a surge upon a surge, because if you look at the slope, the incline of cases that we've experienced as we've gone into the late fall and soon to be early winter, it is really quite troubling. You mentioned the numbers yourself quite correctly when you're dealing with a baseline of 200,000 cases, new cases a day, and about 2,000 deaths per day. With the hospitalizations over 120,000, we're really at a very critical point. If you put more pressure on the system by what might be a post-seasonal surge because of the traveling and the likely congregating of people for, the good warm purposes of being together for the holidays, it's very tough for people to not do that. And yet, even though we advise not to, it's going to happen. So I share the concern of President-elect Biden that as we get into the next few weeks, it might actually get worse.
Well, I want to ask you about travel. According to AAA, as many as 85 million Americans were expected to travel over this holiday. More than 1.1 million people were screened at airports yesterday. So what should we expect in terms of a post-Christmas COVID surge when you look at those numbers?
Well, again, there's no guarantee it'll happen, but there certainly is a danger of that. When you travel, you see pictures on the TV screens, Dana, of people at airports crowded in lines trying to stay physically separated, but it's so difficult to do that. And that generally is followed when people get to the destination they want to be, that you're going to have mixing of household people at a dinner or at a social function. Those are things that naturally happen. And as much as we advise against it, nonetheless it happens. And that's one of the reasons why we're concerned about that being a real risk situation for the spread of infection.
Let's talk about some of the solutions in terms of coronavirus. You acknowledged to the New York Times that you've moved the goalposts in terms of what it would take to reach so-called herd immunity in the United States. Here's what you said. You said when polls said only about half of all Americans would take a vaccine, I was saying herd immunity would take 70 to 75%. Then
listen to this very carefully. Her question and the answer he gives her. This is the guy that's been, he's the tip of the spear. He follows the science, everybody.
When newer surveys said 60% or more would take it, I thought I can nudge this up a bit. So I went to 80, 85, and then you go on to say that it may be as high as 90%. So my question is, why weren't you straight with the American people about this to begin with?
No, actually, Dana, I don't think it can be interpreted as being straight or not. We have to realize that we have to be humble and realize what we don't know. These are pure estimates, and the calculations that I made, 70, 75%, it's a range. The range is going to be somewhere between 70 and 85%. The reason I first started saying 70, 75, I brought it up to 85. That's not a big leap to go from 75 to 85. It was really based on calculations and pure extrapolations from measles. Measles is about 98%.
So he was spitballing.
He was guessing.
He guesstimating, yes.
This is the guy who came up with the AIDS treatment that costs $4,500 a month, and if you get the like generic versions of it, it's still $1,800 a month. And he's guessing based on how measles performs, even though measles is less like COVID than the common cold is. He's guesstimating.
Exactly.
He can sit and spin.
I mean, when I heard him say this the first time, I wanted to rip my fucking face off. I was so mad.
And you better humble yourself before him while he speaks.
Well, yeah, he said you got to humble yourself, and it's like, what, and admit you're a fucking moron, you know, and be honest. Well, it's like you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
You better not fucking question him.
Exactly, man. That's my deal. Oh, I want to say hey to Memes. What's up? That one chick. I said hey to you earlier, but I'm going to say hey again. Undead Ramen. Undead Ramen is a new person we'll be seeing, I hope.
Hey, Ramen.
Yes, Ramen.
And Slappy. Hey, Slappy.
Slappy. Holy shit. Hey, what's up, Slappy? Get right.
And hi, Trippy.
Hi.
Trippy has joined us. We're special. We're complete now.
I forgot you were doing an earlier show.
Brian missed you.
Yes.
But he's glad you're back.
Brian Stelzer.
Yeah. And Becca was just so ragged out. She did her show earlier, and she said that she's going to maybe try to make it, but she's going to try to take a nap too. So I said, whatever. She's probably going to be gone. So
the Hive.
Yeah, and we're
Psycho.
And we're doing in Doku, who is tomorrow's guest on the ice cream interviews. We're looking at Dr. Fauci, Trippy, where he just told us that she asked him about moving the goalpost because he had said that we needed 75% inoculation for herd immunity, and then he changed it based on this other information. He moved it to 80, and now he's at 90. And he basically just said,
everybody needs a shot.
I don't know what's going on, really. I'm just guessing. He's following the science, people.
We all need to stop expecting.
Because we need to follow that science. Obviously, he's following some kind of Pied Piper that says it's science, because he's really following his ego. That's what he's fucking following.
Satan and shit.
People's lives are in the hands of this dude's ego.
He's praying to Satan, man. He's like,
yep.
He co-authored a paper saying that the masks used during the Asian flu in the 60s killed more people than the Asian flu in the 60s.
This fucked up.
It's amazing.
Effective vaccine,
Let's go back.
the COVID-19 vaccine is about 95%. When you get below 90% of the population vaccinated with measles, you start seeing a breakthrough against the herd immunity. People starting to get infected like we saw in the upper New York State and in New York City with the Orthodox Jewish group when we had measles outbreak. So I made a calculation that COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, is not as nearly as transmissible as measles. Measles is the most transmissible infection you can imagine. So I would imagine that you...
Hold on, that's horribly, horribly misleading what he's saying right there. That measles outbreak,
it's a false
that wasn't
equivoc-
from...
Yeah,
well,
go
it
ahead.
wasn't from the Jews. That wasn't from the Jews. That was an Asian measles strain that came in through like North African, Asian, Middle Eastern areas.
Right, and he's trying.
And it's one that
Yeah.
we don't inoculate for it.
Right. Yeah, he saw it. Slappy got that too. I know. That's a New York thing. It's got to be.
But we don't inoculate for it.
I
We
know.
don't inoculate for
Well,
that
well,
type of
and he
measles
was,
that he's talking
and he
about.
was implying it was because they gathered together, right?
Yeah.
You know, it was because of their unsanitary social practices. Whatever.
Knocking their
Think about that phrase.
in their religion.
Unsanitary social practices.
Isn't he's not Jewish? He looks Jewish.
No, he's Italian. He's 100% Italian. He's a good Catholic boy. Yeah. Our buddy Means is Jewish. He said he was.
would need something
He
a
was
little
racist.
bit less than the 90%. That's where I got to the 85. But I think we all have to be honest and humble. Nobody really knows for sure. But I think 70 to 85% for herd immunity for COVID-19 is a reasonable estimate. And in fact, most of my epidemiology colleagues agree with me.
Yeah, of course. Nothing is...
Most. That's, man, you know, it's just his word choice is really, really key here.
He's basically like a couple of people around the office.
He's one of those people that uses that vague language, right? It's you know, he's not going to tell you verbally. He's not verbally going to paint an accurate picture for you. He's going to give you this soft shit where you know you can interpret it any way. So he can come back. It's like a fucking weatherman. Right? If a weatherman says, okay, tomorrow we got a 30% chance of rain, all right, and so tomorrow comes and it rains, okay, and he says, say I told you we had 30% chance. If it doesn't rain, he says, we only had a 30% chance.
Yup, exactly. That's what I was thinking at the start of this.
That's the greatest job in the world is fucking being a weatherman, because you literally guess for a living. And I mean, you just blow it out your ass, just like what he's doing.
Yep. You're like, I'm gonna guess the clouds are gonna blow this way.
You know what I'm saying? Indeed. All right, let's keep rolling.
Might blow that way.
All right.
Exact. I guess my question was about polling. It seemed in that quote to suggest that you were basing your recommendation on polling and what people could accept. Is that not what you meant?
No, I mean, it's a bit of that. I want to encourage the people of the United States and globally to get vaccinated, because as many as we possibly get vaccinated will get closer to herd immunity. So the bottom line is, it's a guesstimate. I gave a range, and I use any discussion like we're having now, Dana, to encourage people to get to that goal of 70 to 85% of the people.
Did you hear some of the reports of the Moderna in England? Some of the early inoculees. I don't know what they would be. People that have been inoculated were suffering psychosis.
They're also dead.
Some of
two
them,
medical professionals, two male medical professionals over 50 in the UK that have gotten the Moderna vaccine are dead.
But that's interesting.
And
Psychosis.
There's rumors that the nurse that passed out died too.
Yeah, we don't. You see, and there's a lot of, oh my God, there is so much 4chan shit about her. It's crazy. So
I bet.
Yeah, I don't dip your foot in the water, but just look at the shimmer over there. Okay, I'm just saying. There's interesting perspectives going on, man, and a little bit of glow in the dark edge. So, you know, if you're interested in seeing what that looks like, you can find that there too. Psyops are everywhere.
People vaccinated. That's where we really want to be.
Okay, and just to put a button on it, no sugarcoating, you're saying 75 to 80% is the goal, in your view, as of now, based on what you know when it comes to herd immunity, not 90%.
Right. Kinds of masks that you just get in a store don't keep the virus out. Probably the one thing they do the most is they prevent you from touching your nose and your face, which is even more important than trying to keep out virus with a mask.
Did you hear what he just said? Yeah. Oh, yeah, this video.
That actually lets virus through. Kinds of masks that you just get in a store don't keep the virus out. Probably the one thing they do the most is they prevent you from touching your nose and your face, which is even more important than trying to keep out virus with a mask that actually lets virus through.
In the simplest terms, what is this country doing wrong?
Well, it's just a question of we're in such a surge, as we call it, Jim, that has just gotten, you know.
I mean, between Fauci and what's his name from Microsoft, Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Where I feel really, really good about this. I really do. I'm confident.
Out of control in many respects. If you look at the history, going back to the late winter, early spring of 2020, we had a surge in the late winter, early spring, another surge in the early summer. We're right now in a surge whose incline, whose inflection is very sharp. When you see it, the numbers that you gave, you know, tell it all. We're in a very difficult situation. We never got down to a low baseline where you can actually control community spread by identification, isolation, and contact tracing. When you get to the numbers that we're in right now, it really is very, very difficult to do effective identification, isolation, and contact tracing. Some areas are doing it, but for the most part, as a whole, as a country, it really is sticking to the health, the public health guidelines that I've been talking about, that you've seen me on your own show talking about continuously. The simple things, we've got to keep doing it. Most important now, Jim, in this season, in addition to the travel, which is now too late because we're into the Christmas, New Year's holiday. The people who are going to travel have already traveled. We try to get people to just tone down the travel. For those who have already done the travel, the thing to do now is to try not to congregate with large numbers of people in social settings like dinners. Try to keep it restricted to the immediate family and the immediate household. Because once you get to large numbers of people at a dinner, inside, poor air ventilation and circulation, that's when you get in trouble. And that's what we're concerned about, that in addition to the surge, we're going to have an increase superimposed upon that surge, which could make January even worse than December. I hope not. I hope that doesn't happen, but it certainly is possible.
A reliable fact of this pandemic, which you know all too well, is post-holiday, because of travel, because of people getting together, we see the numbers get worse. I just wonder how much worse can we be expecting at this point? I mean, there was 168,000 new infections
So there's
just
some
yesterday.
language. There's some language we need to talk about.
Take that apart, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, now you heard Tapper twice say, face the risk of overloading the hospitals. Face the risk of overloading this. Face the risk for that. And then you heard Fauci say, the masks don't actually protect you from the environment, but they control your actions. I would argue that Fauci is not actually an expert. He is a scientist, and he is using the globe as his experimental lab. This is about control.
Yep, it has been since the start.
This is all some sort of weird, gigantic fucking gaslight. And the way this guy acts makes me think he's one of the constructors of it. Because there's just something fucking off and fucking weird about the way this guy does this.
Well, check
And
it
I'm
out.
sorry, I
No.
shouldn't have said that. I'm afraid our stream's going to get deleted now.
No, hold on now. No. I am totally in some. I don't care. This thing can get yeeted all day long. It's not going to get yeeted everywhere.
That's true.
And I've got a record of it. But no. All right. So here's the deal. He created this shit.
Yeah, I know.
He gave the orders to have this stuff done. He and President Obama farmed it out to fucking China because it was unethical for us to do that shit here.
But okay, so
we sent it to a bunch of morons that do like communist science and communist math and communist everything else, which is lobotomized.
Yeah. How do you deal with somebody with a severe phobia, Irate? Do you confuse them and desensitize them at the same time?
No, that's negative reinforcement, right? It's intermittent reinforcement is you might as well just keep doing it. You have to be consistent.
Yeah. So can you not tell me that what he's doing right now isn't the same kind of psychological suggestion you do when you're training somebody to no longer have an irrational phobia?
It's an interesting, yes, you know, it's you're not wrong. You make an incredibly interesting point, and I think that a lot of people, you know, you're not alone.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
Because I feel like
just
I'm
know
going
that.
crazy watching this shit.
I know, man. I know. You know, you feel like, hey, I just dropped some really. I think I dropped a 4-way by mistake.
Okay. With that travel, with people sadly ignoring the advice you're giving here yet again, how much worse?
You know, there are different models that tell you different things, Jim. I think we just have to assume that it's going to get worse. You know, we're between 100 and 200,000 new infections each day. You know, there was a period at the worst part of December.
Just assume.
Yeah.
When it was over 200,000. I hope we don't just get to that level of continually seeing over 200,000, because as you know, it staggers. You get cases, you get hospitalizations, and then you get deaths. It's highly predictable that once you increase in those number of cases in a staggered way every couple of weeks, you get increase in the hospitalization. You mentioned the situation.
But
that's not what's happening.
Right. Demographically, we're like in line to where we were this time. And you know, it's like, okay, if you go back and look in past the amounts of people dying in the age groups, nothing has changed. Which is
okay. In the at-risk age groups, but the amount of death in the other non-at-risk age groups has dropped dramatically.
Exactly.
The quantity of hospitalizations has dropped dramatically.
And it's just it's level with all the preceding years before it. And people aren't getting that information, man, because it's we got the same number, you know, relatively same number of deaths this year that we did last year before the coup.
Yeah. Actually, we have
explain that to me, people. Explain that to me. When this super bug from China.
California, which is very disturbing. You just hate to see that when you have healthcare providers trying as best as they can, knocking themselves out to take care of people, and they're running out of beds. That's the unimaginable to actually run out of beds.
Yeah, that was what the worry was earlier in this pandemic. Didn't quite happen then, seems to be happening now. I want to ask about vaccinations, because the numbers so far, and I know you've been asked about this, not where we'd hope to be. 2.1 million vaccinations. I know there's some thought that might undercount, but when the goal was 20 million by the end of this year, 2 days away, do you believe that momentum, as you've described it, will pick up sufficiently to catch up to those goals? If not by the end of this month, then soon after.
Well, we certainly are not at the numbers that we wanted to be at the end of December. You heard talking about 40 million doses for 20 million people. I mean, even if you undercount, 2 million is an undercount. How much undercount could it be? So we are below where we want to be. General Perna has spoken about this. He's actually publicly, to his great credit, he's publicly apologized about some glitches that have gotten to this. I believe that as we get into January, we are going to see an increase in the momentum, which, Jim, I hope allows us to catch up to the projected pace that we had spoken about a month or two ago when we were talking about the planned rollout of the vaccinations. Because we really want to get those priority people vaccinated so that we can then get to what we call the open season for the general population. Because once you do that, I mean, what we're doing now is certainly saving lives, no doubt about that. But when you get to the point where you can essentially say anybody and everybody who wants to be vaccinated can be vaccinated, that's when you really turn around the dynamics of the outbreak. And we hope as we get into January, February, March, and into April, we'll finally be there so that the spring and the summer, we can really do a very good job of getting as many people as possible vaccinated.
I just wonder, though, if this slow start is exposing holes in that distribution plan, the vaccination plan. We had Dr. Peter Hotez on last hour, made the point about the enormous burden being placed on private pharmacies, right? The pharmacy chains to kind of roll this out. I mean, you can see it already and test it, right? I mean, these places get overwhelmed very quickly. I mean, should Americans have confidence that the current plan will work?
Well, we have to see, Jim. I mean, you know, as not being responsible myself for the rollout, I can't personally guarantee that we're going to catch up. I hope we do. We're certainly looking at it. The people who are responsible for it are really on it. The question is, are they going to be able to get back to the pace that we set early on? And again, I hope we can. We'll just have to keep following it and keep pushing the envelope.
I want to ask specifically about schools. Whenever you and I talk, I ask you. There are a lot of parents at home watching. I'm a parent as well. You have always said, no one size fits all, but you can open schools safely with mitigation. As we get into a worsening surge here, that is a fact. What is your advice to schools as they come out of the holidays here? Do they have to take a break? Can they still open safely? What's the best advice?
Again, well, Jim, I say the same thing that I said before. You can't have one size fits all, but the bottom line, what I call default position, should be that we should, wherever we are, try as best as we can to get the children back to school and to keep them in school and to have a plan to try and keep them as safe as possible. We know, looking at the data as it has evolved over the last several months, that the transmission within the context of the school is considerably lower than what we had thought. So it may be that the children are more safe in school than we would have thought they were. Having said that, we've got to make sure that the primary thing is the safety and the health and the welfare of the children and the teachers. Hopefully, as we get vaccinations and the the teachers get vaccinated as essential personnel, as it were, and then we ultimately get to the people who are taking care of the children, it'll be less of a burden of transmission within the context of the school. But again, we got to try as best as possible to keep the children at school, but don't be so rigid as to say every single thing must be done this way. We have to have flexibility.
There is a new variant of this virus. You have said that we have to assume it's already inside this country as well. Not more deadly, but more transmissible. We're already in the midst of a surge. A new, more transmissible variant. What does that mean?
Well, that means it could be more cases. I mean, more transmissible is self-defining.
Yeah,
if it's more
they're just
transmissible, it's more
fucking-
transmissible. Like I said, Jim, I would be
This
really
is
surprised if we did
literally
not
what a
already have
virus
isolates
does
like
when
this
it
circulating.
mutates.
Not the dominant
It's
isolate.
the
My feeling would be
fucking goal
that if it
of
does
its
get into this country, which I
mutation.
believe it will, if you look at what's going on in Europe, started off looking like it was only in the UK, and now several European countries. Canada has it. I mean, I cannot imagine that we're not going to get it. The question is, prevent it from becoming the dominant strain. And you do that by preventing the spread of infection, which, Jim, gets us back.
Gotta do
that we talk about. If we really put our foot pedal to the floor and do all of the mitigation things that we're talking about, the wearing of masks, the social distancing, the avoiding crowds, whether you have a highly transmissible strain or not, if you do that, you're going to dampen transmissibility. So we do have a tool, whether we have the standard isolate or if we have a mutated isolate. The mitigation methods are all the same.
So we got the mask that doesn't work.
What was that?
We got the mask that doesn't work. That's he said it's like, yeah, he constantly contradicts himself.
Okay, so the nature of a virus is to propagate and mutate so that it does not kill the host. It doesn't. If it kills the host, it ceases existing. It's the side effect of being a part of nature means that this virus will never be as dangerous as it was when it was novel. That's just
right.
It's how it is. It's a law of nature. It's so to have them come out and say, oh, it's making me crazy. It's
More people will get sick, but less will die. He didn't say that part, though, if you noticed. Like, Fauci didn't say that part. He just said, well, it just means more people might get sick.
People are
We'll have a new
going
president who will be in charge of this pandemic. President like Biden is speaking this afternoon about the response to the pandemic. When you look at what he has said, will be his first steps when he takes office, 100 days of asking Americans to wear masks, the same goal of 100 million vaccine doses by the end of the first quarter. I just wonder, is that enough? Right? Because the fact is, many Americans aren't wearing masks, right? They've given up. They don't.
That's some good meth that dude's on, just saying.
Don't trust the science or call it an issue of their constitutional rights. It's already the goal to have 100 million people vaccinated, but the rollout so far hasn't met goals. What does the president-elect have to do to turn this around?
Well, I think what he is actually doing, showing leadership from the top and talking about the importance of essentially pleading with Americans, let's do this. Let's take 100 days. It's going to be more than 100 days, but what he's saying is that let's take at least 100 days and everybody, every single person, put aside this nonsense of making masks be a political statement or not. We know it works. We know social distancing works. We know avoiding congregate setting works. For goodness sake.
So beginning on January 21st, which is my birthday,
100 days of shutdown.
100 days of coof shutdown, y'all.
They can't do it. They can't do it.
Our country wouldn't.
Well, they've already started it in Cali. I think Cali's like a petri dish, like a test. They're trying to see how far they can get with shit before it gets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Cali's not going to last much longer.
I don't think so either, man. I'm hearing a lot of rhetoric out there. Ooh.
It's a tinderbox of crazy right now.
All right, let's play some more. Johnny, you have my sympathy, brother.
Let's all do it, and you will see that curve will come down, and we will get better control. There is no doubt about it that if we do that. So let's just do it.
Dr. Anthony Fauci admitting over the weekend he moved the goalposts on the numbers needed for COVID herd immunity. Watch.
I would imagine that you would need something a little bit less than the 90%. That's where I got to the 85. Bottom line is, it's a guesstimate. I gave a range, and I use any discussion like we're having now, Dana, to encourage people to get to that goal of 70 to 85% of the people vaccinated. That's where we really want to be.
Joining me now is Fox News contributor and media and politics columnist for The Hill, Joe Concha. Joe, thanks so much for being here on this Monday. You just heard Dr. Fauci. What's your takeaway from that?
Well, I think that Dr. Fauci needs to be more careful with his language. When you start talking about guesstimates, when you start saying that you deliberately move the goalposts, you're no longer the top infectious disease doctor in the U.S. working off the data and working off the science. You're now just another guy on TV throwing darts. And look, I think also Dr. Fauci needs to temper his media appetite a bit. He doesn't have to say yes to every interview. Now, that's not to say that he shouldn't do interviews at all, but unless he has something essential to say, he doesn't have to go on national television and talk about guesstimates, because that doesn't exactly inspire confidence from people that may or may not be on the fence in terms of
losing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to instill confidence in people who may be on the fence about getting the inoculation. You know, I'm just, man, this guy's right on point, though. But I sped him up just a wee bit too much. I'm going to slow him down just a wee bit. All right, let's try it. Sorry, y'all.
taking this vaccine. And also, Dr. Fauci can learn to say, I don't know sometimes, because again, this is a novel virus. It's an unprecedented situation. Sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. And instead, he speaks with such certitude on certain things, like saying, for instance, that the vaccine would not be available. He virtually guaranteed it until many months into 2021. And here we are, 2 companies already distributing that vaccine. So in the end, Dr. Fauci does a tremendous service to this country, but he isn't perfect. And it's okay to criticize him once in a while because he too can get it wrong.
He did receive some criticism from Senator Marco Rubio on Twitter. We can put that up here. He writes, quote, Dr. Fauci lied about masks in March. Dr. Fauci has been distorting the level of vaccination needed for herd immunity. It isn't just him. Many elite bubbles believe the American public doesn't know what's good for them, so they need to be tricked into doing the right thing. My question is there something to be said for learning as we go? As you said, it's a novel coronavirus. Even the top experts in the world had to learn somewhere along the way.
No, sure. The World Health Organization said what Dr. Fauci said. Dr. Jerome Adams, the Surgeon General, said that masks weren't necessary in March. Fauci later clarified without apologizing, but did say that, well, I was only saying that because I wanted to protect frontline medical workers. I didn't want to run on masks, and that's why I said that. But again, when you say these things and then later move the goalposts or have to correct things after a while, public confidence in, as you said, an unprecedented situation, even gets more shaky. So yeah, we can learn as we go. And right now, even though we have 2 vaccines and we're 10 months into this thing, we still don't know everything about this disease, or else we'd be able to explain why California in a lockdown has exploding cases and Florida, which is relatively open, isn't doing relatively as badly. So yeah, we're still learning, Alicia, no question.
And I want to move on to something else here, because this ongoing battle between CNN and the Trump administration just saw one more blow by blow this past weekend. Take a listen to Jake Tapper this weekend.
There are some people that are such, they're just so mendacious, I just wouldn't put them on air. Kayleigh McEnany, I'd never vote her. Jason Miller from the Trump campaign, I would never vote him. I mean, these are just people who they just tell lies the way that...
I can explain why California has exploding infection rates with a full lockdown, and Florida doesn't with no lockdown going on. It's real simple. People are going outside. Even during the cold weather months, spending time outside means that you've got more space and you've also got fresh air circulating. We learned this in basic training. When you close up, when you close up a building, I mean, whatever sickness is in the building stays in the building if you leave it closed up. Every so once in a while, when it's warm out, you have to open up the windows and you have to let the air flow through so that you cannot, so you get fresh air and you get the sickness out.
Right, dude.
I mean, that is why California has exploding rates.
Everybody's cooped up.
Not everybody's cooped up. Everybody's got nothing better to do. They're going stir crazy out
stabbing
there.
each other probably too. Yeah, I'm sure it's causing domestic abuse that it did before with the lockdowns.
You can't do this. You cannot keep the country on lockdown forever. You cannot keep the country on lockdown for 100 days. You can't keep it on lockdown for another 30 days. If you do, the damage to the economy is going to become so much that it's going to take 150 years for the economy to recover.
Yeah, I know, man. We spent what, like $19 trillion last year within like 6 months as a country. I think it was. And as opposed to, I believe they said the normal spending would be like 7 or 9 billion.
Okay,
they're just printing money. Right?
This has been the greatest transfer of wealth from small business to corporations ever in the history of America.
Yep.
1 million small businesses have closed their doors forever already.
Yeah, and they're talking about the Great Reset. You know, the possibility that they're gonna buy everybody's debt off of them, but they'll own what you're living in. Yeah, exactly. They'll own and give you a UBI, little monthly, universal basic income, so you can buy heroin with it and shit, and die fast.
Give me my weekly pot.
It's gonna be pretty
telling them
preferable.
Hey,
but,
Becca.
Hey guys.
Well, Becca, look who walked in the door. What up?
Sorry, I forgot to set the alarm, and I had a really good nap.
Well, good.
Hey, everybody's having good naps today. I'm liking that.
Streaming with us.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of this thing. And then I've got so we've been looking at the COOF, and and Anthony Fauci and Bill Gates, of course, because he apparently is an expert on viruses. I thought
vaccine distribution.
Yeah, I just thought he was a rich dude that had a warmer stuck in his driveway, but
I believe he has an honorary doctorate from a school he never attended. I believe that's how
he dropped out of school. He dropped out of college.
Yeah, he dropped out of Harvard.
I thought
he dropped out of Harvard after 2 years, and he never went back to complete his degree. The only degrees that he has are honorary degrees. He is a high school graduate. That's the only diploma that he has ever earned. So yeah, I'm not going to be taking any medical advice from him. I don't care how fucking smart he is.
No shit.
He ain't that smart.
All right, let's keep this. All right, so we're gonna kind of change to right here.
To this thing, we still don't know everything about this disease, or else we'd be able to explain why California in a lockdown has exploding cases, and Florida, which is relatively open, isn't doing relatively as badly. So yeah, we're still learning, Alicia, no question.
And I want to move on to something else here, because this ongoing battle between CNN and the Trump administration just saw one more blow by blow this past weekend. Take a listen to Jake Tapper.
We look at this last
There are some people that are such, they're just so mendacious, I just wouldn't put them on air. Kayleigh McEnany, I'd never book her. Jason Miller from the Trump campaign, I would never book him. I mean, these are just people who they just tell lies the way that, most people breathe. And there's no value in that.
Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press secretary, did respond on Twitter. Here's what she wrote. This is a therapy session for a broken network, and Jake Tapper is lazy enough to participate by lobbing baseless personal attacks with zero evidence. Jake's real problem: I do not leak, I do not lie, but I do call out the lies of the media, i.e. CNN, Russia collusion, hoax. Joe, I mean, we're, weeks away from a new administration, and they're just going to walk out the door, everyone's going to still be throwing punches?
Yeah, I'm not understanding that CNN had hired Kayleigh McEnany as a political analyst before she became White House press secretary. And I would imagine that's because they respected her perspective and didn't think she had a problem with the truth, because that hurt the network's credibility. The bottom line is, and I'll leave it here, Jake Tapper used to book Michael Avenatti personally, somebody of questionable character, Adam Schiff, and Swalwell. It's quite hypocritical.
Thank you.
Just an hour or so ago, we were informed that this new variant, this new strain that we've identified, obviously from the United Kingdom, some other parts of the globe, identified in Colorado yesterday, has been identified here in the state of California, in Southern California. And I know there's been a lot of...
This dude, all right, so this is Gavin, whatever his last name is.
Gavin, bang your wife Newsom.
Gavin Newsom from the governor of California. He looks like he doesn't look like the brightest bulb on the tree, y'all. I mean, he just looks dumb to me. I don't know.
He looks mean to me. See, when I see him, I see what I would typically think of as like a crappy mayor or a crappy school principal as a little kid or something in California. He's like the typical slick, shitty used car salesman that you don't want to go around. In my head, I'm like, ew, you smell like bad cologne, and you're gonna make me choke.
Conversations around the issue of virulence, the issue of transmissibility, but I'm curious more broadly on the issue of diagnostics, the testing side, immunity. Have we received enough information to really understand the impacts in other categories, not just on the issue of severity of disease and the transmissibility of this disease?
Well, Governor, first of all, I'm not surprised that you have a case and likely more cases in California, and we likely will be seeing reports from other states. Colorado were the first to do that. I think you're going to start seeing it, because if you have that much of a prominence of this in the UK with all the travel, not only directly to the United States, but through other countries intermittently, like where you go from UK to France, France to the United States, et cetera. And then Canada has cases. So I don't think that the Californians should feel that this is something odd. This is something that's expected. With regard to your specific question, there's a lot we know about it because our British colleagues have been studying it carefully. And there are things that we will soon learn more about them in a more definitive way, literally as the days and weeks go by. So the things you mentioned is that it looks pretty clear from the UK group that, in fact, the transmissibility of this mutant is more efficient than the transmissibility of the standard virus that we've been dealing with up to now. Namely, it's able to bind to the receptors on cells better, and therefore is transmitted better. There's no indication at all that it increases the virulence. And by virulence, I mean the ability to make you sick or kill you. It doesn't seem to make it more strong in that regard. In addition, it doesn't seem to evade the protection that's afforded by the antibodies that are induced by vaccines.
And what we're witnessing here is basically what we call a circle jerk, okay? Because they're reinforcing each other's behavior with this conversation, right? Gavin Newsom sees him as the expert, and Fauci sees him as a sucker. So the cycle is complete. And
political fart sniffing.
Exactly. It's 69.
The other thing that they've noted in the UK is that people who have been infected don't seem to get reinfected by this, which means that the immunity that's given to you when you get infected is protective against this particular strain. And thus far, it doesn't seem to have any impact
on diagnostics where you would miss it from a diagnostic standpoint. One of the things, Governor, we want to keep our eye out on is that since these are specific mutations, we want to make sure that they don't evade the protection of certain of the monoclonal antibodies, because the monoclonal antibody is against a very specific component of the virus. Whereas when you get vaccinated, the immune response that you make is called polyclonal, which means it's against many different parts of the virus. So even though you have one part of the virus that's changed, it is very likely that the other components of the vaccine-induced response will protect you. So that's what we know about it now, but we're following this extremely carefully. We have isolates from the UK. We're working on it here at the NIH and at a number of other laboratories throughout the country.
Yeah, it's interesting. In California, just to level set so people have a sense, we've been testing about 5,000 to 10,000 tests a week, genomic tests, with our partners, UCSF up here in Northern California, CZ BioHub partnership. And we've not seen that strain until, again, the news out of Southern California today. But because imagine any mutation, and it just scares the average person. The average person hears that variation, but this is not abnormal as it relates to these RNA viruses. I mean, what?
I can't imagine being a denizen of California right now and not, whenever you hear this guy's voice, want to just break shit. This dude sounds smarmy, you know. I really don't like him. I don't like the way he looks. I don't like the way he sounds. I know that's like emotionally based shit, but what he's told the people of his state, the dude has got to be crazy, or because the people aren't going to stand for this shit. They're going to do something, man. I mean, we keep dancing around it, but violence is a possibility here. And
he's got those lizard eyes. He has those lizard eyes.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think a lizard would lick that motherfucker.
How do you calm the nerves for those that have nerves?
Okay, so to all of my California
I know what
friends,
you're saying.
And I admit it, they should realize that this is an RNA virus. In other words, the makeup of it is RNA.
But Brian Snake my. You know what I'm saying?
RNA viruses, they make a living out of mutating. They love to mutate. The more you replicate, the more you mutate. So when you have a lot of virus that's circulating in the community, it means it's infecting a lot of people. It's replicating a lot, and when you replicate, you mutate. The overwhelming majority of mutations are irrelevant. They don't have any impact on any important function of the virus. Every once in a while, you get a mutation that does impact a function of the virus. It appears, from what we learned from the UK and what we'll prove here, is that this particular mutation does in fact make the virus better at transmitting from one person to another.
We could mutate the United States if we work together.
Well, and that's what that paper said. The main gain of function was, that they had learned was transmissibility. So that kind of makes sense if you think about it. All right, so I got this one last thing. And it's to kind of like as a bookend on everything we've just seen about the COOF and our wonderful geniuses in response to it. We're so grateful and we're so fortunate to have these human beings who are so intelligent and benevolent that they bestow their love and their wisdom upon us. For check this out.
Yeah.
Pandemic world. Happy New Year to you, Fareed. So great to have you here with us this morning. Look, what are you hearing from U.S. allies around the world? What do they hope when Joe Biden takes office? What do they expect? And I wonder if there's a difference.
You bright and early in this year. What I'm hearing more than anything else is a sense of hope about the United States being back in the game, being back as an engaged power, as an agenda setter, a country that wants to try to help organize cooperative solutions around the world, get engaged with problem solving, everything from climate change to regional issues. But I think, underneath that, what I detect is a hope that the Biden administration understands this is not just a kind of restoration. You can't go back to 2008 or 9 or 2012. The world has changed a lot. I mean, one of the things I try to describe in my book is just how profoundly the world has changed. So you have, just think about where we are with China. China is now clearly the second most important country in the world. It is, the United States and China in a league of their own.
China is number one. Is really what he wants to say.
China.
He really wants to say China number one. You can't see him. He caught himself fast enough, you know. I saw that. Busted.
Yeah.
He's busted. This dude, man, this dude is like, I can't stand him. He's another one of those I want to throw shit at.
China has come out of this pandemic in many ways stronger. Yes, its reputation got battered a bit because of its early handling, but it has essentially vanquished the virus without a vaccine.
Vanquished the virus without a vaccine. That's the hot take from this motherfucker right now, right here.
He's got at least 3 copies of the book that he just wrote behind him in that
He was
bookshelf.
plugging that fucker. Man,
He's got one at head level, one directly above it, and then one that is end on. That's on the upper shelf,
you can just see
about 8 books over to the left of the one that is flat.
Yep.
Damn.
All right, we're gonna jump to this chick, all right? Because the whole point was I wanted you to hear him praise China on their ability to conquer,
suppress the information on their statistics,
to conquer the virus without a vaccine, to conquer it. All right, all right. So
They vanquished it.
They vanquished it. That's right.
Tomorrow marks the 1-year anniversary of the first public statement about a mysterious illness described by the Chinese government as a pneumonia of unknown origins. It's now known as COVID-19 and has killed 1.8 million people across the world. But China, where the virus was first detected, now seems to be containing it rather well, with the caveat that experts question the reliability of that country's data. So we take a closer look by the numbers. China has reported a total of 95,851 coronavirus cases in a country of 1.4
cases.
Why are we taking any information from China? Didn't these people just come out like last month or the beginning of December?
This is Disney.
Saying, oh, well, China lied.
This is the mouth of Disney.
billion people. In stark contrast, more than 19 million Americans have caught the virus, about 200 times China's count. 4,781, that's China's reported COVID-19 death toll, a tiny fraction of the more than 341,000 coronavirus deaths in the U.S. Wuhan, the first major city to experience COVID-19 and lockdown, is now back to a fairly normal life, as is most of China. China's economy has remained relatively stable, shrinking by 6.8% in the first quarter of 2020, then growing by 3.2% and another 4.9% in the following quarters, according to Chinese data. That's some question. And just today, Chinese drug maker Sinopharm announced its COVID vaccine is 79.3% effective, according to preliminary data from its final testing.
Okay. Why are they developing a vaccine in China if they have contained the virus and it's no longer spreading?
Vanquished.
Why would they need a vaccine?
Exactly.
They gotta kick the dead horse. It's just to show the pride of China.
You've got all the proof that you need. Their quarterly economic growth is normally in excess of 6%, and now by their own numbers, it cut in half to 3.2%, and then it bumped up to 4.8%, and they're saying that's just normal.
Right.
Their economy is tanking the same as anybody else's. They're developing a vaccine, and they're not developing it for the rest of the world. They're developing it for themselves. And I'll bet you that you can add 2 zeros to the number of people that have been infected in China, and at least 2 zeros to the number of people dead in China.
Most likely.
Hey, Ariel Payne Diaz, I don't know, donates $3 and says, shockingly, Kazakhstan has fascist police with a socialist dictator. Not wrong. And they're doing drills with the Chinese army just above the border here. So,
yeah, that's going to work out well. You can do all the drills you
just
want.
saying.
Wait till you run into a Michigander that fucking cuts his own wood.
Dude, you know that's right. Just saying. Man. Anywho, so so that's the end of tonight's Cream Stream supplemental edition. We don't usually do this, but occasionally when I've got more stuff than I can do on Friday, I might think about doing this, but I don't want it to run over anybody that I like a lot. So I do want to tell everybody that Adonis Paul has just gone live, and why don't y'all migrate over there, give him some love, tell him I said hey, and I sent you, and I want to appreciate everybody. We're going to go ahead and close shop real quick. But you know, we may be in here commiserating, and that may make you want to join our Discord. Hit me up in DMs. All right, if you,
I'll say mean stuff to him.
That's right. All right, and on that note, we're out. All right, say bye, everybody.
Bye,
Get the fuck out.
Bye.
And a half. The millions still, yeah, they're still going.
You start the wheel.
Later, y'all. We'll see you with Doku tomorrow. It's gonna be fun.